We're back, people, and today we're breaking film on Ollie Gordon II, Oklahoma State running back. I would say this is another pretty good value pick from the Miami Dolphins in the 6th round. He's the perfect complement to what you have there in Achane and Jalen Wright, bigger body guy, listed at about 6'2", 220-ish. He plays pretty physical on tape. I would say a main reason he ended up falling to the 6th round, which one running backs end up falling from time to time anyways. But he had a much more productive 2023. Like going into the 2024 season, he was considered one of the top running backs in the nation. He had a down year. Now there was external factors playing into that, like the O-line play and just the offense in general was really bad in 2024 for Oklahoma State. So like if he wasn't making plays, they weren't doing anything. But you can definitely see the traits on the film. Like that's what it comes down to running backs sometimes. It's not always about production. It's their traits. And I think, overall he's got pretty good vision, which is a positive. If you look at him as a third down back perspective, he's good in short yardage, very physical. He can finish runs in those situations. He's got reliable hands. If you want to throw them all out of the backfield, he's not going to be like a route runner, but he's a check down guy he's reliable, and he's probably your best pass protector on the roster. That's where he would make an impact, I think, right away, is a guy that can do pass protection and short yardage stuff. That was definitely some of the strengths and where he would fit in on the offense right away. I think he should be your running back 3. I think he's better than Madison. And then maybe you can develop into an RB2 down the line, kind of, mix things up out there. Definitely complements what you got. Love the goal line stuff, physical work as a runner, finishes. I think he plays with high pad level too often, which becomes a problem. But when he is in the short yard situations, he understands he needs to finish those runs with lower pad level. It's just definitely a consistency issue that he can work on. And I would say the other thing is when his feet stop. I think when he doesn't have momentum, he really struggles to change directions and really get going. Sometimes gets stuck in the mud. But when he's out there, he's, I think, really fluid for his size. I think at angles, when he has to work at 45-degree angles or keep his momentum, the way he bends and is flexible at the hips is very, very impressive in those situations. He was more fluid than I expected him to be. And then as from a speed burst perspective, he's not going to blow you away. He didn't test crazy or anything. But he didn't test poorly. I would say he's pretty middle of the pack, which I think is overall not bad for a guy of his size. Here, some of these 2023 plays are so good. And I think he's pretty scheme versatile. Here on some outside zone out of gun, this is something you got to be able to do in Miami. I think he'll get some inside zone and gap scheme work too, which I would say he looked pretty evenly comfortable in all 3. I didn't think one was oh, this is where he stands out. But here, you can see him, one, read the path, and then, because when you're working outside zone like this and they're sifting this guy back, you're reading end man of the line of scrimmage down. So he just is instantly identifying this. This guy sets the edge. He's feeling the flow of this play. This guy's outside shade. He starts to just, keep working his eyes down once he gets here. And then look at the lower body flexibility. Look at his hips and how they're pointed here. And then the ankle flexion. Being able to bend like this in your lower half is very important at the running back position. And especially a nice trait to have for a guy of his size. It allows you to transition from a horizontal position to get upfield, which I think is more important than making horizontal transitions, because being able to be from horizontal and getting upfield is very helpful. I don't think when he has to make complete lateral cuts, it's the greatest thing. And then he shows off some burst and speed to hit this hole. So vision, the burst, and the flexibility in the lower half. And then he's definitely a guy that will break some tactical contact balance. You can see him dip his shoulders too, reducing surface area to avoid these hits. He gets skinny to avoid stuff. The hips and shoulder combining, that's all nice. And then he'll throw out a stiff arm to keep himself clean down the field like an open space. He's a surprisingly very good open space back. I think he's actually probably at his best in open space. But he will pick up some short yardage situations for you. I think when things just weren't blocked up well for him, that's when he would get stuck in those 1 to 2 yard gains. But those 1 to 2 yard gains you do want in those obvious short yard situations. It's just a lot of those happened on first down too often. And that was, I think, a product of this offense at time. Here, quick decision, good footwork. Feel the leverage. This guy, 32, shoot down into this gap. He presses up into the line of scrimmage. Boom, makes a quick cut, efficient feet. Get upfield vertically, stay tight to his blocks, get back up, pick up his feet, make this guy miss in the open field pretty quickly, combining feet, good hips, reducing surface area, and then brace for contact, drop his pad level low. When he is ready to take on contact, that's when he decides to really lower the boom, throw a safety off him, fall forward. That's exactly what you want to see out of Gordon. So I do think this is probably one of the better day 3 picks I think that they made. I mean, you could even argue this was like the second best one after Jordan Phillips. And I do think he would see a potential role. Maybe not getting carries right away, but I think if an injury happened, he would be out there. And then also potentially seeing a role on third down as a pass protector. He does have some inconsistencies in pass pro. The Dolphins don't ask their running backs to pass pro a lot, but there is times I have seen him whiff. Like, he is over aggressive. He needs to get better technique and use his hands more often. Sometimes he kind of just throws his body into people, but it does make for some fun plays at time. But here, kind of working off duo. He's reading this linebacker blitzing. Once he sees linebacker commit, you press up into it and get outside. Reading the cut shows off, the ability to transition after making that cut, get back upfield. You can see look at him bend his hips and dip the shoulder to get skinny to work through an arm tackle. This is a small part of the game that I think goes unnoticed if you're not paying attention, is these little micro movements. Not all running backs are natural at this, but it's the little micro move of your hip and shoulder to really avoid the contact and then stay on your feet. Do it again there, pick him up, and then he has enough juice to get into the end zone in this situation. He'll get caught from behind sometimes, but he's a long strider. For the most part, he'll end up doing a pretty good job. Like seeing the change of direction skills there, the transitions upfield like I'm talking about, working on some inside zone. The Baylor tries to trap him here because you look at they're running like a run game stunt. Look at how this guy loops around. They're trying to sell like this gap's going to be open, and Gordon doesn't fall for the bait. He sees this guy looping around to take this gap, so he presses this back to the outside instead of trying to run into space where this guy's going to get a free hit on him. He presses this to the outside, forces him to commit back, but he's just setting him up to boom, change directions. Good job. Look at him. Lower body, flexion, fluidity. Make that guy miss, and then get up back upfield vertically, show some burst, run through contact. Like when he first gets really contacted there, it's around that point he falls forward for at least another 5, which is always those hidden yardages always really add up. So those, like, really going back and really doing a deep dive into Gordon's film, I was quite impressed, especially with the 2023 stuff. Like, he's setting up blocks. It's just they actually gave him things to work with. Usually that 2024, it was like, man, there was nowhere to go. He's getting hit instantly in the backfield, and I don't think he's athletic enough to be like a full-on creator. You got to give him at least something to work with, which is the case for majority of running backs. But reading leverage on this block, getting upfield, he sees this guy peek, and he's setting him up here again. Press to this outside. He basically, when he sees this guy peek and he gets this guy to commit down, by pressing up this other step and instead of trying to bend this back, he gets him to commit. He sticks that foot in the ground, gets wide with it too. Like, look at how wide he's able to stick that foot outside his frame, make a violent cut, and then get back up, transition with his feet. His feet are tied together, and then get back on the path to the outside. So really setting up, manipulating second level defenders, showing efficient feet and hip flexibility. All really nice. Like, here's another example of it. Press to the outside, make a cut. You can see the sort of bend in his hips. He's being flexible with his hips, his body there. Reduce that shoulder, kind of turn that shoulder to make that guy miss and not waste any steps, because he makes a cut back to the inside here. Doesn't waste any movement. 1 foot with that left foot, and he gets back upfield. Very efficient. Allows him to fall forward. It's like little stuff. It's not like a crazy run here, but these are the traits that translate at running back to the next level. Those types of fluid movements. And then he's a reliable pass catcher. I don't think he really dropped the ball. Also, he didn't really have a fumbling issue. I think I noticed I watched a lot of games, and I think I saw him fumble once. So, I mean, and I looked it up, and he didn't have any, like, big fumbling issues when it came to, like, the statistical thing. But, like, he makes reliable catches. He's not going to do, like, anything too crazy out in the open field, like making people miss. I don't see him as much as of a route runner, but he did look pretty comfortable, I think, when they asked him to more run his routes down the field, especially for a bigger back. Like, he'll probably be, asked to run routes third out of them, because Achane is a very good receiving back, and I think, Wright showed some stuff last year as a mover that they'll probably trust those two a little bit more. But Gordon has something to him as a check down, as a screen option. I think he's very comfortable transitioning. Like, he's always flipping his hips and getting back upfield. Look at him punishing defenders, falling forward. Love that mentality. That was the theme of the draft. If you really notice, pretty much every pick, besides probably 2, brought a lot of physicality to the team. I would say, obviously the quarterback, not really that type of player. And I would say the corner they had, Jason Washington Jr., wasn't really known for his physicality, but, he's at least a bigger body guy, or at least has decent size, athleticism. But everyone else is known for physical toughness and playing some bully ball, and Ollie Gardner definitely fits in. Here he is with his pass pro. His pass pro, he was trying to, like, absolutely destroy people out there. Sometimes would be a little reckless, but I love seeing aggressive pass pro. Look at him put that guy in the dirt. Actually has some power. Chip, put a guy in the dirt against Tulsa there. Absolutely phenomenal to see this type of work. Look at him stick with this one. Doesn't stop. He's really trying to absolutely finish these people. This one, he tries to throw the chip. He doesn't get a clean one, but he does help out his guy get control of the situation on, I believe, Landon Jackson, and then leaks out so he can still be a receiving threat, and then makes a nice catch in the end zone, kind of falling backwards. Always going to, take some nice stuff of that. And then here he is finishing down in the low red. He can fall forward. This is an area like if this happened versus the Dolphins running backs, they would not have even gotten close to the end zone here. He's able to stay on his feet, put his hand down before he hits, and then reach for the end zone. Like, that's super impressive, especially because he got hit 3 yards away, able to fall forward. That is perfect. Here he stays tight, makes a quick read. He's trying to work off the back of this O-lineman, and he stays as tight as possible, drops his pad level. He knows if he can carry some momentum, he can get into the end zone, which he does. Leg drive, play strength, balance, all there on the tape for Ollie Gordon. And he does stuff like this, nothing too crazy, but this part is what I love. Like, nothing, he's not running a crazy route, he's just running into the flat. Ball is thrown over these guys because these are left unblocked, so he has to flip his hips, kind of track the ball in, make a pretty tough catch that, I would see there's definitely running backs in the NFL that would struggle to make that catch. He looks naturally having to flip his hips, track it, now instantly turn into a threat, get upfield, and then hurdle into the end zone. He loves to hurdle. He has some explosive traits for sure where he can, I think that's where he actually tested pretty well too, as an explosive guy. I think everywhere else it was a little more average, but for a bigger back, you definitely take average testing when you are, 6'2", 220 plus. Quick cut, love seeing this. You can see some more like mid-zone stuff. Read end man line of scrimmage down, boom, boom, you peek back here. Stick that foot. I love when you can transition like this. That wide step right there. That flexibility in that lower half to make one efficient cut to make, boom, transition back upfield, make that guy miss, and then kind of work through that trash at the second level. Here he is as a screen threat. When you get down to him space, he's clearly comfortable setting these guys up, working angles, having a little bit of burst speed, long strider. I think he can also maintain speed and burst at those like angles. They call it like curvy linear movement. So like when you're moving linear but at like certain curvatures, I actually think he does a good job of maintaining speed. That's something Achane does really well. When he's not running in a straight line, he can still maintain his acceleration. It's obviously a little different because they're different speeds, but to be able to maintain your level of speed is very impressive for Gordon. Definitely a quality pick, especially if you get more of a 2023 form. And it seems like he's a very hard worker, seemed very excited about being drafted by Miami, and I always like to root those guys on. That seems like he seemed very likable as a person as well. So definitely rooting for him. Here he is, just another example, transitioning after the catch. Love these little checkdowns. It's little stuff like this. Nothing too crazy, but look at him catch the ball. He see when he flashes right here, he knows where these guys were. He was just looking at this play, like these guys that were right in front of him. This guy was the closest threat. So he knows if he catches this ball, based on the angles and feel, he feels this and starts to anticipate. Look at him anticipate where these guys are coming from. Already flipping his hips before they even get to him, before he even sees them, because he has a feel, and now is able to get away. And this allows him to turn this potential, 4 or 5 yard gain into, gaining 10 plus. And, that's very impressive. Fluidity, too, to flip your hips, get upfield. Just little things like that in Gordon's game that I really like. Some speed to capture the edge. I don't think this is a big part of his game, but if it's blocked up, I think he's got enough juice to get out on the captured edge, which in Miami, that's always helpful. And he'll break some tackles, end up going out of bounds there, but he's not an easy guy to bring down on first contact. I think when this pick was first made, I'd watched Ollie Gordon pretty early on. Like, he was one of the first prospects you watch, even before the season really began, because he was one of the big name. I watched the draft almost a year in advance. I started watching these guys. I'm probably going to start the 2026 class soon. Since he was listed as one of the top running backs going into this season, I watched him very early. So I hadn't watched him in a while. Coming back and really looking at the fine details and thinking how he complements Miami, I think this fit is pretty good. I think, I really wanted Damian Martinez at that spot, but I think Martinez might have fallen for some injury stuff. I'm surprised he was even there. But Gordon also just fits kind of that same vein of bigger body guys that have some explosive capabilities. And obviously the Dolphins, they brought him in the top 30 visit. You can tell McDaniel really liked him, so definitely one of my more favorite picks, probably even potentially top 3, 4 favorite picks out of the picks made. And then when you consider value, that's always a positive. And I think he's a guy that will not be like ever like a workhorse style back, but I think he can definitely be a quality rotational piece that will at least always make an impact on third downs and short yard situations. So big fan of this pickup, fan of the draft in general for the most part. And I would say the main part I'm a fan about the draft, even though I think, there's certain parts, I would have done differently, is just adding physicality across the board at multiple different positions. So if you guys are doing it, comment, subscribe, and take a copy.